but why reject first philosophy? He goes on to say here to begin with, why not be thankful for science, but also be grateful that there are other ways of knowing that gives us knowledge of reality and hold that philosophy is fundamental. As he suggested, the literature on these questions, most arguments against first philosophy merely start with a question-begging assumption of scientism. Moreland goes on to say that I have surveyed the literature on these questions, and most arguments, and he puts around arguments there, against first philosophy merely start with a question-begging assumption of scientism. Who would have thought? Well, according to Papanou, for example, if we're going to study the nature of the human mind, we must start with assumptions. Moreland says, really? I don't think we start with assumptions. Rather, we start with our direct introspective awareness of our conscious states. Is our knowledge of the nature of a pain an assumption? No, it's something we know directly by first-person experience. Maybe reading too many philosophy papers gives you pain. So as he reads Papanou, he offers very little by the way of arguments for this scientific starting point. He just assumes it. And I thought we weren't supposed to do that in science.
Yeah. All right. So that's one kind of argument about why first philosophy was rejected, because we have to start with assumptions, scientific assumptions and that sort of thing. And so we have to reject first philosophy. He says, but there is an argument against first philosophy, or at least an implicit argument based on the claim that philosophical knowledge must be rejected because philosophers can't agree about anything. So there's another one, right? Can't agree, those bonehead philosophers, right? But besides, he says, the fact that scientists disagree more than most people think, this statement itself, notice he says, is a philosophical assertion.
Ooh.
It assumes an epistemological view, namely that knowledge requires agreement by the experts, so this is not a scientific assertion, right? And so as a result, it's self-refuting. Right. If uttered by an advocate of strong scientism, it is a philosophical statement that says that only scientific statements and not philosophical ones can be true and known to be such, right? So there it is. You're making this statement that is, if you apply it to itself, it refutes itself. And so it doesn't work, right? And so that's the second issue with regard to this kind of argument against first philosophy.
Right. If we don't all think alike, because again, evolution gave us survivability, so why should we assume that we'd all come to the same conclusion, unless if there's things like objective nature and the ability to come to a common knowledge and the values and the oughts and being able to share that in a truthful way. Oh man, all the towers is coming a crumbling down. All right, so he goes on to say, but in my view, the most widely stated argument against first philosophy is that those who accept it do so because they hold to a faulty view of knowledge known as Cartesian foundationalism. As Patricia Churchland proclaims, it is in this sense that there is no first philosophy. There's no corpus of philosophical doctrine concerning science and epistemology such that we can be sure it is the truth to which all scientism must conform. There is no Archimedean point outside all science from which we can pronounce upon the acceptability of scientific theories. This Cartesian foundationalism is this, can you be absolutely sure? Well, no, I'm not absolutely sure. I'm not 100%. I'm 99%. Well, then we can't know anything. And so therefore we can't even get off the ground. And so it just must be rejected. But also let's go and make a computer.
That's right.